Oh, hi there. This is Everest Hall, Everest DIY. Um, Last week I got tickets to Don Quixote at the American Ballet Theater. Really excited to go. I got them from a friend, who got them from her boss, who got them probably from someone else. Now, I was super excited to go to see the the ballet because anytime I can get to Lincoln Center, I'm I'm on it. It's the most amazing building. It's just so light and so elegant and just so beautiful, and the air in it and just everything about it. Just the glamour of the 60s. It's so fucking glamorous. It's so glamorous. Um, and I know the story of Don Quixote. It's one of the three books I read constantly. Well, there's four, but there's Don Quixote, Moby Dick, and then there's the Metamorphosis Ovid. Little chapters I can kind of pop into, and usually has a lot of like, you know, violent, and it's good boy stuff. I like it, and it's good visuals. So I got two tickets, and I couldn't find a date. I just couldn't find a date. It was too short notice, and the people that I wanted to go to the ballet with, they just weren't around, and so I just went to the 7:30 show with an extra ticket. Now, so I walked up to the front, and there was a nice little older gal, and she was like, "Oh, does anyone giving away tickets? Do you have a free ticket?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I have a free ticket!" And so I handed her my ticket. She was like, "Oh, thank you so much, thank you so much." And now I was like, "Oh god, now I have to sit next to the stranger," and I just gave her like these really good tickets, and I'm gonna have to like be nice and like talk to her about stuff, and I don't know anything about the ballet. Literally, I don't know anything about the ballet. And what am I gonna do? It was really early, and it was really crowded. So I spent most of the time avoiding her before we sat down, like hanging out in the bathroom. I didn't have any money on me, so I couldn't get a drink. But then I didn't want to be drinking at the ballet because then I didn't want to have to pee on the train home. So I just kind of wandered around Lincoln Center. It's well, amazing. Um, Light goes down, curtain goes up. I'm so excited. And there's this moment where these chandeliers and they kind of raise up, and it's just the most amazing damn thing in the entire world. So the ballet is going. It starts, and I'm excited. The costumes are good. But I was like, there's something funny going on here. There's something a little weird happening, and I'm like, this seems a little like off to me. And I was starting to get in a really annoyed mood, like really kind of annoyed. Um, but besides what people were wearing to the opera, going to the ballet, it was just driving me crazy what people were wearing. But it was just seeming a little old-fashioned, but not in a really smart way, not in an intelligent way. Costumes were great. It was. The storyline is okay. So essentially, Don Quixote wanders into this town. There's a frisky gal who falls in love with a commoner, and they want to get married, but the father wants the daughter to marry the baron, who's like this like doofus. And then Don Quixote comes in, and they get into this like kind of like dance off thing, which was amazing. The skill. Okay, I'm gonna talk about the skill of the dancers is just mind blowing. It's not even the way they move; it's also the way they don't move, how they stand still, and how the control they have of their body. It was just really, really mind blowing. But the storyline was just getting on my nerves and had nothing to fucking do with Don Quixote. He was just kind of comes in as this like older guy and is just hanging out there and helps this like young couple escape the, which would make no sense at the time. Like that would never happen. And the more it was going on, the more and more conflicted I was feeling because I was loving the movement and the precision and the clockwork precision and the costumes, but I was just hating the story, and it was making me feel really cranky. So the gal I was sitting next to was super excited because she knew a lot about ballet. I didn't know anything about the ballet. And someone really special was dancing this main role. I couldn't tell who the main role was. I couldn't tell. Um, and it's not because it wasn't clear. It was because I wanted the main character to be Don Quixote, and he wasn't. He was just a supporting character in this bourgeois love story, which was so completely implausible and just like ridiculous. It was just the most ridiculous plot. So they fall in love, this dance off, and there was this insane scene with all these matadors dancing in matador costumes, and the guys were so freaking delicious. I just was losing my brain. Um, and they go to this like other part of the world, and then there's a dream sequence which is really gorgeous. And two totally like kind of antique, vintagey, beautiful with these dream maidens, which were just fantastic. And that had Don Quixote in it. And then the windmill scene came up. Now, there's a reason why I smoke weed and don't smoke meth. The windmill scene came up, and there's just they got it wrong. They got the whole fucking thing wrong. They got it so wrong, and I was getting so mad, I wanted to stand up, and I wanted to scream at the top of my lungs, you're getting the fucking story wrong. This isn't how it goes. It's not how it goes. It's not how it goes. What, you know? But I didn't. I just kind of sat and like gripped my chair, and I wanted to leave, but I was there, you know. I wanted to see how it ended, and it ended in, of course, the most like typical kind of like way where true love prevails, and the bourgeois fucking system is reinforced, and it was just so antiquated. It was so antiquated. It was so heteronormative in this completely uninteresting way, and I just didn't understand why it was being shown. I just didn't know what the point of it was being shown, and it just seemed so displaced, and it just made no sense. And then I kind of realized, what I was actually watching. Obviously, had nothing to do with Don Quixote. It was just a smart theater producer or whoever was in charge of making this film. It's kind of the equivalent of like Fast and Furious 7, because it was attached. It was a basic storyline that was attached to a name. The book was very big and important. At this point, I think the ballet was like 1847, 1870, mid 1800s. And so it was this really kind of dumb, like digestible storyline that was super bourgeois, which would be totally understandable by the audience at that time period. And it was attached to a name, Don Quixote, but had nothing to do with Don Quixote. It was just an excuse to make this ballet, which I don't know anything about ballet, but I thought was very skillfully and beautifully done, but just really not that interesting to me. But perhaps it is very interesting, but I thought it was really not an interesting thing to begin with. And then I was like, oh, wow. So it's kind of, whoa, okay. So then I was less mad, but then I was just as mad about the entire experience. So maybe next time I go to a dance, I don't go to anything traditional. Maybe I go to the Joyce Theater and see something, or I go see a Buto performance, and just kind of avoid these things. I've literally been pissed off for a week, and it makes no sense to me to be angry for a week about this, but I've been completely and totally and utterly just like annoyed, like really annoyed by this ballet, and I feel like I need to read Don Quixote again. Although being that I've never actually read it cover to cover, but just chapters of it, I probably don't even know what the book is about. But in my heart, I know what the book is about. I know for me, I know what Don Quixote is. And that wasn't Don Quixote. That was just like I don't know, like 1800s Kardashians, or I don't know what the fuck that was. I'm so mad about the entire thing. Okay, so that's the but they did a great job. I don't want to talk bad about the ballerinas and the dancers and the male dancers and the production and everything like that. It was really beautiful. It was yeah, yeah. No, that was great. The story sucked though. Had nothing to do with Don Quixote. Okay, so enjoy your day. Thanks for subscribing and sharing and enjoying. This is Everest Hall, Everest DIY. Thank you.